When the autumn wind blows on Lake Erie, it carries along with it legions of late-season bluebills. Hunters around Detroit, searching for a way to sneak up on them, devised clever methods of hunting on Lake Erie. Over the years, boat designs and decoying methods evolved into what is known today as layout hunting.
And that's where all the original layout gunners used to gun, was right out here where we're going now. We're connecting back with a sport that started back in the mid-1940s and is still hunted this way today. It stayed in this area almost exclusively until the last 5 or 6 years with the internet. There's layout boats now in use in Maine and Alaska and all the way down to Texas and points in between. Last count we've been able to determine for sure we have layout boats now in 38 states. It's catching on pretty quick because it's kind of like owning a lease. Any place you see these big flocks of birds that are running offshore, you can't get to them. If it's open to public hunting, it can be hunted with a layout boat.
We Live Outdoors is brought to you by Dodge, official vehicle of Gander Mountain. And by MasterCard. Some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. We Live Outdoors is brought to you by Liberty Safe, protecting what's yours while you live outdoors. And by Federal Premium Ammunition. Every shot counts. One of the benefits of basing We Live Outdoors on Gander Mountain Associates is that it delivers local flavor to a national audience. Store associates submit ideas based on their favorite hunting or fishing experiences. It's not often, though, that we get to experience the source of an original hunting style, one that stood the test of time. So when Joe Mara suggested filming his group's unique duck hunting technique, well, we couldn't pass it up. Organizing a layout duck hunt is like operating a football team. It takes lots of people, equipment, coordination, and practice. If there's a head coach on this team, it's Richard Whitwam. He's a first-generation layout hunter.
The layout shooting really started here in Gibraltar, probably in the 40s, 30s and 40s. Hidalka started the layout shooting. Him and his brother, Sidey Dalkey, laid down on the barroom floor and they took a piece of chalk and figured out how wide they were going to make this boat.
You ever seen a rig like that set up with the long lines and everything, John? It's pretty interesting.
Joe Mara, a former Gander Fishing Department manager, began layout hunting in the 1960s.
I was 17 years old when I started hunting ducks. And it becomes a disease. It's worse than a cocaine addiction. It's way more expensive and a whole lot more fun.
Together, Mara and Whitwam are organizing a hunting party made up of assorted friends and magazine reporters onto Lake Erie for a day of duck hunting.
As soon as we hit this channel, we'll be right at the mouth of the river. You can see this is quite an operation. We've got 2 16-foot chase boats or tender boats and one 22-foot mother boat that we're hauling out.
The mouth of the Detroit River has always been a haven for duck hunters, largely because it's geographically blessed as a funneling point for southbound waterfowl.
This is one of the few places in the world that you'll ever hunt ducks and have to worry about freighters.
The problem has always been getting to the birds, as traditional duck hunting methods won't work here.
Everything out on the big lakes is gray colored. We're not hunting in any kind of cover like we normally hunt ducks. There's no cattails, bulrushes, phragmite, nothing out here but open water. The boats are painted a semi-gloss gray to give it a little bit of shine like water has. We try to wear as much gray as we can. Anything else tends to stand out.
Open water decoying creates challenges of its own.
So we use these really long lines. They're about 200, 250 feet long. We run 5-pound weights off either end of them. Then we use what they call droppers or snubbers, and that attaches the duck to the mother line, and that's how you lay them out. And they're spaced, depending on who you're hunting with, mine are about 8 feet apart.
They hang up?
Once the decoys are set, only 1 or 2 people hunt at a time. The rest of the crew serves in supporting roles.
Layout shooting is the ultimate team sport. You can't do it alone, it's not possible. This layout boat is out there by itself. It's just this little semi-flying saucer-shaped boat that's really low profile.
And once the blinds are anchored and the first 2 hunters set, the tender boats back off and everybody waits.
The guys in the tender boat go over to the mother boat or anchor the boat, put your feet up, drink a cup of coffee, and watch the guys miss ducks all morning.
Get down on the water. They're in there. All right.
We're supposed to have gales right now, and 10-foot waves with whitecaps coming from 3 different directions.
That provides the, I guess, the nucleus of the hunt. It provides a camaraderie. People tell lies in that boat. This gun is deadly. It's not a misser like yours.
Yeah.
They make fun of everybody. They talk about the guys in the layout like dogs. Hey, Joe, I can't believe you shot them decoys. There's one out there with a bill hanging down. Until they get back in the boat. Then they might even brag on them. Until they get back in the boat again, then they talk about them again. There comes 3. Here's one right here.
This time of year, most of the birds flying are bluebills, but there are still some mallards and redheads around too.
Get him, Joe.
It's not as easy as it looks like. Those boats are extremely stable, but when it starts getting up in the 2-footers and you start pitching and rolling, and the waves sometimes are coming out of different angles, they're never out of one direction half the time. It makes it tough, and more than one guy's blowed a hole in the water when the boat pitched the wrong way.
That's how you miss. Oh, I know.
When the birds are coming in, it's not like when you're blind hunting. The birds come in, you're eyeball to eyeball with them. Most of the time, they're right on the deck. They're only 3 or 4 feet off the water. More often than not, they got their flaps down and their gear down. They're coming right at you, and you're eyeball to eyeball. And it's just the most incredible thing you've ever seen. You don't see it any other place.
One of the drawbacks of layout boats is their lack of mobility. That's why the tender boat must act as a retriever. Bobby Whitwam is Richard's son and the heir apparent to this outfit.
What's special to me is I've grown up doing it with my dad, my older brother Jim. I've met a lot of people doing this that have become lifelong friends.
You gotta blow them feathers away. That's the only way you can do it.
Well, that's good film there.
How proud are you?
I am so proud right now. I can't believe you just did that.
This year's limit on bluebills is 3. So when a team gets their limit, 2 other guys take over. Bluebills, or scalp, as they're officially known, decoy easily. They are rafting birds, so the more decoys, the better. Calling is mostly unnecessary.
It's a lot of work. don't get me wrong, just like anything else. It's a lot of upkeep, but in the end, the friends you make, the stories you can tell over the years, and of course the ducks that you do get, to me, is all worth it. But I've grown up doing it, but anybody we've taken out new to this enjoys it. And they want to get a layout, they want to get the outfit.
The real treat is that scalp will stay until bad weather chases them south. In the meantime, more rafts arrive every day, so the shooting gets better as the season progresses. Bob's layout companion is DNR biologist Joe Robison. Specializing in marshland restoration, he helps create the very habitat that supports these Erie ducks.
You get a lot of satisfaction out of your job because you can see the results, a couple years down the road, and what this place looked like, 10 years ago to what it looks like today. All the people that were here before me, they certainly made a lot of contributions and accomplishments. But
Whenever I heard since I was a little kid, when I started doing all this, about 12 years old, don't bang the decoys, that's what I heard. So we try not to.
My lines, all my equipment I want in top shape or I'm not satisfied, and a lot of times I won't even go out in the lake if I got a problem with anything.
Not the most seaworthy of craft, the layout boats can take up to an hour to tow in, but the effort pays off in quality hunting.
Well, we managed to get it off the lake okay. It's only 3:30 in the afternoon. As you can see, we had a pretty fair to middling day out there. Birds flew steady all day long. Had a great shoot. Weather conditions couldn't have been any better. Can't get too much better than that.
We Live Outdoors is brought to you by Verizon Wireless, official wireless provider of Gander Mountain. And by ScentLock, be the dominant predator. We Live Outdoors is brought to you by Arctic Cat ATVs, more to go on. And by Tecumate Wildlife Systems, first in wildlife nutrition. Just south of Detroit, where the Huron River empties into Lake Erie, stands a critical tract of wetlands called the Point Moulet Marsh. At one time, it was one of the largest freshwater estuaries in North America. Now, it's the largest wetlands restoration project in North America.
we're here at Point Moulet State Game Area. 6-7 years ago, we'd be right here where we're standing. We'd be standing in about 3 to 4 foot open water. Through periodic drawdowns that we've done, we've got some vegetation come back in most places.
Point Moulet was nearly destroyed by high water and dams in the 1960s and 70s. And without the marsh, ducks bypass western Lake Erie.
We have to protect that marsh. There's very, very little marshes left anymore. Michigan's lost, this area's lost 90-some% of its wetlands in the last 150 years. Joe, how much wet prairie have we lost out here from when it was in its pristine state?
We had less than 1% left, what we originally had.
Robison, an aquatic biologist, is charged with not only saving, but restoring lost acres to the marsh.
Then we had the high waters of the late 60s, early 70s come in and washed that out and never had a chance to rebuild itself.
As is often the case in conservation efforts, it was sportsmen who came to the rescue. These same layout hunters started the Point Moulet Waterfowl Association, and together with the state of Michigan, began rebuilding the barrier islands that created the marsh.
You can see the banana, how it's shaped, the different cells where they put the dredge spoils in, and then from there west is the Point Moulet Marsh where we've done restoration efforts the last 20 years.
Morning, gentlemen.
So with Joe's stewardship on the professional side and the Waterfowl Association on the volunteer side, the marsh is coming back. That earns the guys another day to hunt bluebills from layout boats. And what a day it is.
I'm pretty proud of you. That once that you said don't bang the decoys,
Don't bang the decoys.
Today, Joe and Joe will lead off.
Back in 1974, off the,
I was still wearing diapers in 74.
were you? Some people thought I was in 74 too.
You can see them ducks coming from a mile away sometimes because even though you're low on the water, your field of vision is huge out there and you can see them coming forever. I like the team sport aspect of it more than anything because you got to work together. You can't just, you can't be arguing and not knowing what you're doing out there. Somebody's got to know what they're doing.
One shot, Willie.
I don't know, but I was sleeping.
No, he died.
So how many decoys did you yahoos shoot?
Hey, Joe.
What?
It's always customary not to shoot the guide's decoys. It always helps.
I didn't shoot it. That was Joe Mara.
The ducks was coming in.
He killed the duck.
They was coming in just perfect.
Yeah.
And then the decoy jumped in behind the ducks just as I shot.
Okay. Them
Killed the
decoys.
duck.
I'll tell you what though, those decoys don't eat too good. Well, we got some perfect layout water here today, I'll tell you that, this afternoon anyway. We didn't have much wind this morning, hardly at all.
Regardless of the success of the hunt, it's clear that being out here on the water is what matters most. This being a team sport, it creates a bond that compels people to work together for the common good.
Get your gun then. Get your gun ready.
They were seagulls.
No, they're not. Right in front of us, coming right at you. They're low in the water.
You must be crazy.
You start messing around and joking around, and it just makes it all worthwhile coming out here.
Well, that's a matter.
Whether if you're not, you know, if
Yeah.
you're getting game or not.
That's a matter of opinion. Probably.
Well, it's a matter of company.
Yeah.
What
I
year-
don't like nobody here.
You don't like nobody
No.
here? How the hell are you going to lay out shoot by yourself?
The only guy I like a little bit would be Worth.
He's sleeping.
He's snoring?
Yeah.
He's either sleeping or he died on us.
Good shot.
Just being with my dad, just like anybody else, any other guy, just to be with your dad is just, he's enjoyable. He's a character to be around. He's always a lot of fun. He's upbeat.
There's the single right there. Leave this one land. Get him. I enjoy getting the decoys ready. I enjoy getting the outfit ready. I enjoy working on the boats. I enjoy the people I hunt with, and like I indicated earlier, I like to watch them birds come in them decoys. And when you got everything right and they do that, I'm satisfied.
They hunt till sunset, and as if 2 whole days isn't enough, the hunt is extended into a late-night wild game dinner at Joe Robinson's place.
Oh, we got some marinated duck and a special recipe of mine.
Can you tell us what it is?
No, I told you I had to kill you.
We Live Outdoors is brought to you by Bill Jordan's Real Tree Camouflage, family, friends, and the outdoors. And by Stratus Boats, the performance company. Gander Mountain's We Live Outdoors is brought to you by Gerber Legendary Blades. Fend for yourself. Every hunting and fishing party has one, a team leader who's also a historian. Without the Richard Whitwams of the world, traditions like layout boat hunting would disappear.
They had a blind that went across that laid down, and when they got ready to decoys, they'd be about 100 yards from the decoys.
In a museum dedicated to the marshland lifestyle, Dick Whitwam stands out as one of the last links to the pioneers of Erie hunting.
There's not a whole lot of guys, especially his age, that go out on a constant basis like he does. He's talented. He paints all the decoys. You know, that's his gig all summer long. He's painting decoys. And if I think it was up to him, he'd just sit in the boat and watch everybody else hunt, making sure they're having fun.
This decoy here is a McCourt decoy, and that's the kind I'm still using. I'm still using these decoys right here. My favorite partners for hunting, layout shooting, or even waterfowling is my son Bob. I think it's important to me because I want him to be one of the guys responsible to keep the sport moving. Eventually, them guys are going to have to take over and where I left off, you know, and where other people left off, because I don't know how long this is going to last. You know, these kinds of things, sometimes you think they're going to last forever, but they don't.